Listen, if you find yourself saying the operations area of my business stresses me out, I'll be the first to tell you that you've trapped yourself in technical work in your business and you need to hear what I'm about to say. Hopefully you listened to the last podcast episode that I posted the beginning of this month when I talked about taking a sabbatical and what's been going on and where I've been. And if it's been a while since I've seen you live, I really miss you. Really miss you. I hope you're doing well. But let me know in the comments while I'm getting set up how you've been. How are things going in your business right now? How are you navigating this economy? And if you feel like you're trapped in the technical work in your business, just put a 1 in the comments. If you feel a bit trapped by the technical work, the client-facing work, and if you're approaching a burnout. If that's you, like drop a 1 in the comments real quick while I get the Instagram live going. Okay. Drop a 1 if you feel yourself burning out from client-facing work, meaning you're the one on the phone, you're the one in the Zoom meetings, you're the one taking calls, you're closing deals, and then you're also the one who has to actually create, deliver, debrief, and do everything that your clients need. It's all on you. Let me know if you feel yourself like approaching a burnout from that. Put a 1 in the comments if it's a yes. Okay. All right. Whew. Okay. Let's go. So, how are you doing? How are you guys? So happy to be back. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. What I want to, let me just start off by saying this. We're starting a brand new series on the podcast. If you have never seen my face or never heard the sound of my voice, my name is Cena Martin. I'm the founder and creator of Higher Grade Help Coaching, where we help service providers, small business owners, anyone who's a service provider and you're serving typically 50 or less clients at a time in your service-based business, meaning you're delivering some type of service to your clients. We help you to structure organized growth in your company. So if you find yourself like living sale to sale, if you find yourself booked out with the amount of clients that you can handle, you're at capacity, but you're still not seeing the cash flow that you need, the profit margins that you need, and you're struggling, it's tight, and you want to get into a space where you can scale and live comfortably while stepping away from the business. Typically, you would work with us. You would work with my consulting company where we offer coaching services. You would work with my company to create organized structure and organized growth. Okay, that's the key word, organized growth within your business. So what we're doing is we have a podcast, the Higher Grade Help podcast. Go listen to it. Check it out if you've never heard of it before. But we're starting a brand new series here on the podcast. This is going to be an episode of the podcast. I'm just doing something a little special this Friday and live streaming it on my different platforms. But we're starting a brand new series here, and it's going to be called Free Yourself from the Technical Trap, Save Your Cash Flow and Scale Up. Okay, free yourself from the technical trap, save your cash flow and scale up. And this series is going to break down the process of implementing structure in your business to direct organized growth. Okay. I'm going to break down the process over this series. It'll be like a 9-part video series, podcast series. I may drop a couple videos in between. I may live stream some of them. But basically, it's going to break down the process of implementing structure, like I just said, in your business and what that really means. People always say, I want my business to be more organized. I wish we had more structure. I wish we could put systems in place so that we could have a small team, or our small but mighty team could run more of the operations without me, the owner, having to have my hands in so many places and I'm flipping so many pots at the same time. You hear that a lot. But how to do it and what it actually looks like in a business that's providing services face-to-face to clients it's not as black and white. And so my goal with this series is to help you see in this, if you're in the United States, you know what's going on right now, like with the economy, with the climate, with the inflation, like all of, and even if you're not in the United States, If you're up, like, what's going on. It's a lot going on over here right now. So with that said, if you aren't certain how to direct the growth of your business in a way where it's structured, it frees your cash flow, it adds at least 30% to your profit margins, like within this calendar year, in a way where you can work with 15, 20 clients for the whole year, but still cross your multi six figure mark and still see profit margins over 40, 50, 60, 70%. This is the series that you want to listen to. And these are numbers I'm not pulling out of thin air. These are the actual numbers that our clients have seen over the last 3 or 4 years, me implementing this framework with them that I'm about to teach you. So long story short, like, you need to be subscribed to the podcast. What are you doing? If you're not, go and make sure you pull up the Higher Grade Help podcast on your favorite listening platform so that you could be a part of this new series. Okay. All right. So let's talk about technical work and how technical work is crippling your business and what the fix is. What the fix is for this. First and foremost, if you are, let me see who put one in the comments. Let me check. Okay. If you're one of those and you hear kids, like, y'all know what it is. Full-time mom, full-time business owner, full-time all across the board over here. And so what I'm saying to you is very, very, very relevant about limiting or shifting the technical work that you're doing for clients so that you can focus more on leadership. So by the end of listening to this, we're going to kick it off today in this particular episode. But by the end of listening to this entire series, you'll have the tools to free yourself from the technical grind so you can scale your business to new heights. And everyone's version of scaling will look different, but depending on how you want to scale, you'll have the tools to direct, like I said, direct your own growth. That could look like elevating your business operations so you can focus on taking a maternity leave. That could be cutting your expenses by over 30%. That could be saving your cash flow from crashing out. It depends on what you want and what direction you want to go. But by the end of this, my goal is that you have a plan for how you're going to direct the growth of your particular business, your service-based business. Okay. All right. So let's get started. The first question I have for you is, do you have a roadmap to live? Hold on one second. Tobias, you're loud. Question. Do you have a roadmap to liberate yourself from the daily technical tasks that stress you out? Yes or no? Do you have a roadmap? Now, I asked in the beginning, I asked for you to put a 1 in the comments if you feel like you're drowning under the work that you have to provide to your clients. If you put a 1, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, there's no comment section. Just put your review of today's episode in the comments and then let me know there if you feel like you're drowning. Now, if you answered yes to that, do you have a roadmap to liberate yourself from the daily technical tasks that are stressing you out? Yes or no? Yes or no? Be honest. It's okay. No judgment over here. None. Okay. A few no's, couple of no's. All right. So my goal is by the end of this episode right here, just today, not the whole series, but each episode that I'm about to drop, I want you to have a tangible at the end. I want you to have like an action item, an action step that you can use before we get to the next part of this, because we're going to have to unpack this. That's why I made a series, right? So, okay, if the answer is no, that's okay. First, before I get into the how, I'm not even going to really talk about the how, but I want to talk to you about the why this matters. It's more than just saving you from burnout. And it's more than just the fact that we don't want you constantly being the person who's delivering all of the work to your clients for the next 10 years. Because at that point, you'll stay as a mom and pop shop. And no disrespect, I'm just saying, you'll stay as like a small business who's constantly in the give and receive. You're constantly in the phase of delivering work, booking more business, delivering work, booking more business. But you never really get to the part where you experience like the fruits of the asset that you've created. Yeah. So let's just paint the picture first before I get into the details of what to do or creating this roadmap. Right now, you're overworking as a solopreneur, but we're going to call you a technician because that's what it is, right? You're working as a technician right now. and you're overworking. For all the reasons I don't have to really explain, you understand the pain, you know the amount of you know the level of thought that you put into the services you provide. And I can guarantee you from most of my clients, this is true. And for most of you who have listened to me over the years, who have taken business coaching with me, we all have, I'm gonna say we, because you and I have a lot in common. That's why you listen to me. We typically pour double or triple into the work that we deliver to our clients because we overthink about how to deliver the best service, the best quality service. So you are overworking when you're delivering clients whatever they purchase from you, whatever the service is, to the point where sometimes you feel like you undercharge, right? Okay, that's the before. But the after is, let me paint this, like picture this with me for a minute. Imagine that you are at a place where you get to enjoy your free time in your life while your support system, we'll call it a team. Your team could be one person. I've been telling you guys this for years. Your team could be one assistant. Imagine just enjoying your free time in your life while your team gets more done than you ever could solo. And your free time could include a maternity leave and spending that invaluable time that you can't get back with your newborn and with your family and with your spouse or your partner or whoever. Maybe you need time off to get married. Maybe you want to go get married and have your dream wedding. Maybe you want to take vacations, or maybe you just need a break. I just talked about my whole sabbatical and how I just took a sabbatical off, and my split, and my decade-long relate. Like I just talked about all that in the previous podcast. Sometimes you have unplanned sabbaticals in your life too, and you really just need the time off. But right now you can't do that because you are the business. Yeah. So just imagine that you're able to enjoy that free time to do and accomplish the things in life that you've never been able to and you've always wanted to. And time is the most precious resource that we have. None of us are getting younger. So each day is another like pot of gold that you'll never be able to feel or experience or spend ever again. Once it's spent, it's spent. You can't go backwards and get a day back. What would that look like in your life? How would that feel? How would it feel to have that free time? How would it feel to finally be able to take off 2-3 months so you can enjoy the dream wedding that you've always wanted and actually go on a honeymoon and not have to check an email or not have to send out an invoice or not have to respond to a client? Like, come on, right? So that's what I want you to picture in your head. This is why we need a roadmap to get from where you are right now to enjoying that free time. You need a map. We need a way to GPS it. I'm gonna give you an example. We had a client, Laura, a couple of years ago during COVID. Laura went through this process that I'm about to share with you, which is currently our structure program. I'll tell you more about that later. Not today. I'll tell you more about that in a future episode. But Laura went through our structure program. She added 60 new people to her high ticket coaching program. High ticket, okay? The price point was $3,000 or $3,500 to get into the program. 60 people joined. Her biggest launch to date, right? After she went through our process, the same one that I'm about to walk you through over this series that we're doing. And after 60 people join her coaching program, for anybody who's ever launched a coaching program, the level of client work that has to be done. When 60 people, let alone 6 people, when 60 people join a program, when one person joins, the questions that come in, right? The volume alone of the questions is enough to take anybody out. But Laura was able to go on maternity leave shortly after that because she went through this process that I'm about to share with you. Her biggest launch to date, I think they banked over $300,000 in that launch. 60 people joined her program and she was able to go on maternity leave for over a year. How? And it wasn't because she had 30 people working for her on some big team. And we're talking an online business. So this is what I'm saying. Let's talk about how to liberate yourself from the daily technical tasks that are stressing you out. I'll be honest with you. My journey to figuring this out and to hacking all this, just real quick before I go into how my own story with this, like just drop a 2 in the comments if you're still with me. Drop a 2 in the comments if you in the right place. Drop a 2 in the comments I hope y'all can still hear me. Facebook, let me know if you can still hear me. But drop a 2 in the comments if you're still with me and this is the conversation you need to have today. Let's see. What's going on with this microphone? Okay. All good? You can still hear me? Okay. Okay. So when I started out in business, when I started out as an entrepreneur, I built a small team of 2 people, just 2. At the time, I could only afford virtual assistants who were from out of the country. Shout out to the Philippines because I had some of the best assistants that there were at the time for the stage of business for the season of business I was in to help me and to assist me. And I had a team of 2. With that team of 2, we served over 250 clients. I crossed the 5-figure mark. And then because I was into other things, I had some cryptocurrency stuff going on. We ended up crossing altogether in value the 6-figure mark in less than 10 months. Okay. But I burnt out because even though I had a small team there, I refused to remove myself from the client facing work. I still was the one waking up at 5 a.m., going to bed at 3 a.m., doing all of the technical work. I hadn't figured out how to remove myself yet, nor did I have the confidence to actually remove myself. So I kept working like I was crazy and I burnt out. All the success, 250 clients, 6 figures, 10 months, all the numbers, all of the accolades, that's cute, but I burnt out. And when I burn out, I've done it so many times, I know how long it takes. It takes 4 months to recover every time back then, because I refuse to do it now. But every time I burnt out, it took me 4 months of resting and re-nourishing my body and a bunch of other things, nutrients, and spending a bunch of money at health stores and stuff to recover. So it cost me a lot. I was losing a lot of time in the year from burning out. The demands of clients, social media, marketing, constant staff questions, all of those things became very overwhelming. And despite my body telling me to stop, I let imposter syndrome push me way beyond my limits. And I broke my own business. I couldn't maintain the 15-hour workdays anymore. And being the first point of contact for every client was impossible as a mom because I had a newborn at home and I also had a hormonal imbalance, which if you've ever been like I had an iron deficiency, or from my moms out there who had babies and newborns, like, after the baby comes, you're already drained and done and tired. But on top of that, to have a hormonal imbalance, it's another game. So impossible to keep up the level of work that I was producing pre-baby, right? And this is my second kid. This is my second boy that this happened with. So I tried taking back the workload, increasing my marketing, pushing myself harder, but none of that worked. And then it hit me. I needed to automate the support. I needed to figure out a way to automate the support for my clients that wasn't so attached to me. When I did that, I'm going to tell you what happened. 15 high-ticket clients joined my coaching program annually every year, meaning I was able to sustain that 30, 40, 50, 60,000. Actually, probably the height of it was maybe 75,000, which was good because my expenses were low. Like, that was great. Yeah. For a mom in her late 20s, early 30s with two kids. That was perfect. That was good for me at that time. Right. I was able to sustain that with 15 clients for the whole year. And I got my work week down to like 20 hours a week versus 15-hour days. That's the first thing that happened. Second thing, my clients started hiring and following the same framework. They hired 16 contractors and 2 full-time employees using the exact same framework I used to have the results I had in my business. Second thing. Third thing, my clients generated $515,000 in revenue with a 42% profit margin in 2022. Come on. With online businesses. All right. I grew my business while I also maintained a corporate career. So I had that coming in at the same time. And then the same year, I launched a professional speaking career. And I booked 3 paid speaking engagements. The first year I launched my speaking career, all in one summer. So when I tell you working harder, hustling harder, burning out is not the solution, I know what I'm talking about. Like, the numbers speak for themselves. I'm not telling you something I just wrote down in an idea book somewhere or something I Googled off Chat GPT. This is real numbers that real companies have gone through. This is a real framework that real businesses, including my own, have gone through to produce this. So I'm telling you what I know. Okay. Now let's talk about what I would suggest you look at. Let me rephrase. Let me put it this way. There's 4 stages that a business can go through. Okay. I'm getting ready to share them with you, but I don't want you to look at this as I'm just like giving you information, just like regurgitate. I want you to look at it to see where are you. Look at it as me giving you a template, for the stages that a business can go through to begin to implement this framework that I'm talking about. And I want you to reflect and I want you to evaluate each stage so you can identify which one you most relate to, like which stage best fits where you are right now. Okay. There's 4 stages a business can go through. Let me just come on over here real quick to make sure I'm good. You all can hear me and say, okay, good. Okay. Pause. Drop a 3 if this is making sense so far. Drop a 3 in the comments if this is making sense so far. And then I also want you to, if you're listening to this, if you are listening to this episode, I want you to leave a review and tell me which part of this is resonating with you most. Tell me what part like sticks out and helps you get your light bulb moment. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. So what I say, 4 stages that a business can go through. And I call this grid. Okay. This is grid. It's not a method, but it's just, I call it grid. So there's the growth stage, the revenue stage, the improve stage, or the decide stage. It's only 4 stages. I don't care what the business is. I don't care what you sell, what service, who's your clients. You're not a unicorn. All companies go through grid. It's only 4 stages. Okay. Grow, revenue, improve, and decide. Grow is the startup. This is your foundational phase. This is when you're laying your bricks for your house, your support beams, right? Like this is the beginning. This is when you set the upward course for the company. The thing about it is a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of us as solopreneurs, we skip the grow stage and we try to go straight to revenue. So in our mind, it's what? Okay, well, launch this business out. I need to get straight to making money. And then when you skip the grid and then when you skip the grow stage, you have to come back and rebuild it. And that's what a lot of clients end up doing when they start working with us over here at Higher Grade Help Coaching. They skip the first stage and they come back and have to rebuild that whole foundation. So I want you to ask yourself and be honest. Did you spend enough time in your growth stage? Do you have a business model that dictates how you're going to monetize what you're doing? Typically, the answer is yes. If you're over here, because over here, our service providers are a bit more advanced. Some of you guys are already doing $5,000 to $10,000 a month or upwards of that. But we still have, I know there is a segment of our community here and you all who listen to this podcast, there's like a segment of you all who are right at the beginning. You might be doing like 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month. And if that's you and you're in that phase where you have a couple of contracts, you're hitting like 1K, 1.5. If that's you, I want you to ask yourself, because typically the answer will be no. The answer will be you completely skipped growth and you didn't set up your foundation. You went straight to the revenue stage. And because the grid stage is missing and you didn't set the upward course or build that foundation, you really don't have a solid structure for how you're monetizing. You don't even know who the audience or who the people who you don't even know who the audience is or who you're actually selling to. Like it's a hot mess, respectfully. Yeah. So that's the first stage. Remember, I said it's called grid. This methodology that we use, it's called grid. So there's the only 4 stages a business can go through: grow, revenue, improve, and decide. That's it. So that's grow. Grow is your startup phase. The next one, revenue. Everybody's favorite. Revenue is the growth stage. Just the second stage a business can go through. This is your Tyler phases, right? This is when you focusing on consistent revenue increase. This is when your number one goal is to consistently uplift your target revenue. Yeah. Only after you spent enough time in your growth stage can you actually like do work in revenue. Okay. That's the second stage. The third one is improve. Third stage is improve. And this is your maturity. This is your maturity stage. So at this point, the need for maintain this stage of business is when you realize, and every move, I won't say every move, but like probably 90% of the moves that you make as a CEO is focused on maintaining a stable and cohesive business model, because you actually have a business model established. And this is when you enter your mature years as a company. You sustain unified commerce, you're focusing on thriving, you're living out your maturity, you're really enjoying your fruits of your labor. At this point, you should be I'm not gonna say very hands off, but there should be a new level of time that you bought back for yourself, because your business is working now. Like, it's an asset. It's doing what it needs to do. It's giving what it needs to give. Like, the business is where it's at, right? It's in a maturity phase. So you're maintaining that stable and cohesive business model in this stage, and you also have you've set your intent, your CEO intent. You know where you want to go, what the plan is, what's the next phase for the company, and you're making sure that your roots are deep so you can approach that, and so you can execute that when you get to that next stage. And that is the very last stage, which is decide. So decide is when the company is in renewal or in decline. Final stage of a business. It's either going to renew or it's in decline. This part is where the strategic planning that you've done up until this point, you now are like tweaking and refining, and you're implementing the strategic planning for the business to either renew it or to renew and uplift the business, or to manage a decline effectively. Maybe you're selling it, maybe you're getting out of it as the owner, maybe you're passing it on as like a legacy business, maybe you want to pass it on to your children or someone in the family. Whatever the plan is, you're executing that in the decide stage. This is where you strategize to uplift continuously. 4 stages, that's it. Are you in grow, which is the startup phase? Are you in revenue, which is growth? Are you in improve, which is maturity? Or are you in decide? Grow, revenue, improve, or decide? What are you doing at this stage of business? Drop that in the comments. Which one? Grow, revenue, improve, or decide? Which one are you doing? Okay. And depending on, now remember, we're talking about technical work, and how technical work is hindering your business, and what the fix is. That's the topic of today's episode. So in that lens, I want you to think about, what do you need to do in the stage of business that you're in right now? Because depending on where you are, if you're in grow, there's certain systems you need to build in order to grow effectively. If you're in revenue, there's certain systems you need to build to focus on consistent revenue increase. If you're improving, there's systems you need to build to maintain a stable and cohesive business model. And if you are in the decide phase, there's systems that you need to tweak, or I shouldn't say need to, but there's systems that you want to focus on so that you can continuously uplift or remove yourself from the business altogether. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you're a health coach. Yeah, let's use that example. Let's say you're a health coach. There's specific systems in each phase of this grid framework I'm talking about that you can use that you can build to ensure structured growth and sustainability. Here's how I would apply grid to a health coaching business. If you were in a growth phase, I would focus on business plan systems. I would focus on branding systems. I would focus on client acquisition systems, and I would focus on legal and financial systems. Why? You want to develop a comprehensive business plan. What's your mission? What's your vision? What's your target market? Pricing strategy, financial projections, all that matters because we have to set foundation. We cannot get the revenue without foundation. You want to establish your brand identity, website, social media, all of that. We all know about that, right? Client acquisition. What are your strategies and processes for attracting and signing up new clients? How are you conducting initial consultations? The first thing every health coach whose business I have ever touched with our framework has gone through setting up the onboarding, luxury onboarding for their initial consultations. Every single one. There's not one health coach in business I've touched who we haven't refined their onboarding process for their consultations, for their high ticket services that typically cost 4 and 5 figures. Have you done that? Or are you still getting on the phone with new clients, figuring out what to say to them, figuring out what the package should look like to onboard a new client? Did you do what needed to be done in the growth stage or something left out? We just asking questions because we want to get the revenue and really do damage in revenue, meaning we want to put numbers on the board, real numbers. Grow has to be taken care of properly. Okay. So that's what I would focus on in the growth phase. If I was a health coach, if I was a health coach that had a health coaching business, if I was in a revenue stage, I would focus on marketing systems, not posting, not reels, but developing and implementing marketing strategies to increase my client base. And I would look at different marketing strategies that cover each phase. I will make sure my life cycle for my client, like the life cycle that a client goes through, from the moment they discover who I am, or from the moment they're searching for a solution to the problems they're having, to the day they discover my company and who I am, to the day that they graduate and become an alumni, or they become an ambassador for my brand and my services, all of that will be touched with marketing systems, all of it, top to bottom. Content marketing, email campaigns. Yeah. What are you doing to re-engage clients who have already gone through your services? How are you getting them to be repeat customers? All of that. Partnerships, okay? If you're in the revenue stage, everything should be talking about revenue growth. Which leads me to my next point, client management systems. Is the CRM organized? Do you have the tools to track client progress? Are you scheduling sessions? Are you managing communications? Or are clients hearing from you once every 6 months when you remember to email your list? What are we doing? This is not a judgment thing. I'm just saying, you see how much needs to be done or what can be touched in each stage. And if you find yourself stuck looking at a client every day on a call, and that's the only work that you're getting done, these are the things that are being neglected. These are the growth strategies that will direct your ability to be successful. These are the things that will either make or break your organized growth. So if you're stepping into multi 6 figures, if you're stepping into just even hitting your first 5-figure months, if you want to get to consistent 5K months, whatever your goal is, if you want to hit 20 to 30 might be a lot. Some of you only want like 15, 20. Like I said, that 15 clients a year I had. This is what would hinder you from having those 15 clients that you adore, that give you time freedom, that pay you well, and they're happy with their services. They're seeing growth and results. This is what will prevent you from getting from the clients you have now, maybe the 2 or 3 you're dealing with now, to the 15 that you just want to stick with per year. Because what you're focused on now is blocking you from getting into the systems you need to be building, depending on the stage of business that you're in right now. Drop a 1 if like it's making sense, or get in the comments in the leave a review for this episode if this is making sense. Okay. So let's just touch a couple more. If you're in the maturity stage, I will be looking at pursuing additional certifications and trainings to offer more specialized services so you can stay ahead in the industry. Again, this is for a health coach. Advanced training and certification systems. I will look at client retention systems, which I just mentioned. Developing programs and like incentives to keep clients engaged and motivated, especially if you have a coaching program or a group coaching program and you're a health coach. Loyalty programs all day, referral bonuses all day, ongoing support groups all day. Can we get a membership going? Can we get a mastermind going? Can we do some intensives? Can we get events going? Yeah. Efficiency systems. This is where you streamline administrative tasks, or you look at automation tools and outsourcing, cutting down on the prices and cutting down on the cost and what you're paying for automation tools every month. We had a client one time where we refined this for her in her business, and she saved $2,000 a month on automation services that she was not using, but thought was necessary in her business, and it was just bloated expenses that didn't need to be there. Right? What's going to allow you to focus on more client interaction and business growth in the improve stage? And if you're in the decide stage, which remember, this is the renewal or the decline, I would look at rebranding systems. I would look at revenue management systems. I would look at adaptation systems, staying adaptable to industry changes, client needs, regularly assessing business strategies, modifying your strategies so you stay relative and competitive. You're a health coach. All of that is relevant. Can you introduce new services or products? Can you introduce online courses, workshops? Can you attract a different client segment? Can you refresh your brand stories? Can you reflect on new services? Can you capitalize on market trends? You're in the renewal or decline. And if you're in a decline, if you're deciding to decline for whatever reason in this stage of business, can you analyze financial data to identify areas where you can reduce costs, explore new revenue streams? What can we do to implement and refine the systems that are needed depending on the stage of business that you're in? If you're a health coach, because I'm using a health coach as an example for this, you can ensure that structured and sustainable growth happens at each stage of your business. So I'm just giving you an example of what you want to focus on: leadership work, not technical work. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of obstacles that can get in your way as you go into this. And we'll probably get into that with the next episode because I don't want this one to be too long. I'll touch on some of the obstacles you'll face as you go through this, but hopefully this got your wheels turning. Just to start to think about, where are you in the business, and where are you? What stage are you in? What do you need to focus on? How can removing yourself from technical work? And when I say remove yourself, I don't mean you're just not letting it get done. I don't mean just dropping the ball and because that is your business. That's what's keeping clients coming to you. But what I mean is, how can we begin to find a way where the technical work is getting handled or supported by your team members in a more efficient way than you can do it on your own, so we can get you over into the leadership work that's needed so the business can grow properly. So I encourage you. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was useful for you. And I encourage you, I want to share your thoughts, comments, questions that come up as you listen to this. Listen to this episode again if you need to. Listen to it a few times so it can help you decide if the places you've been investing your time as a business owner are actually beneficial, or if it's holding you back from the growth that you want to have. Share your thoughts, share your comments, your questions related to this topic in a review. I want to hear it in a review. So let me know, what challenges have you faced in different stages of your business? How are you overcoming them? Do you have any additional tips or strategies that may have worked well for you? Your insight, just remember, your insights and your experiences can help others who may be in a similar industry or delivering a similar sister or a partner service that could complement what you're offering your audience. It's always good when we get a think tank situation going on. So share your insights, share your experiences, because someone else in the community might be navigating similar challenges and benefit from what you have to say. Let's continue the conversation and support and build each other. Support each other as we build structured and successful service businesses. Okay, so I hope this episode was of use to you. If you are interested in having a one-on-one conversation with me about how you can begin to implement more structure, I want you to book an eligibility call. The link will be in the show notes. If you're watching this on social media, the link will be above this video or pinned in the first comment. But book an eligibility call. I only have, I want to say, 3 or 4 slots open. And I think there's only 1 or 2 left for this month. So I wouldn't wait. If you are interested in taking this to the next level and exploring how I could begin to bring you into our coaching programs and implement some of our methods that we've used with other clients in your business, go ahead and book an eligibility call. There's only a few spots, but I would love to explore that with you and have that conversation if you know this is something you need to implement right away. We'll evaluate what phase of business you are in together. Okay, you and I. And then we'll talk about what systems you may need to build to grow using the hours that you are currently spending on client facing tasks. So we don't need more time. We just need to be more wise about how we use the time we have. Yeah. Book that call, and I can't wait to have a conversation with you. So just to summarize one more time before we go, today we talked about the importance of liberating yourself from technical tasks. I told you how my 15-hour work days burnt me out and how I was able to help clients take off a year for maternity leave once I learned the secret to freeing myself from client facing work and from burning out. And we talked in depth about the 4 stages of business, the grid, the grid method and the 4 stages of business, and then which systems are required in each. And lastly, you have your special invitation. Book the eligibility call with me to see how I may be able to further assist your organized growth. Remember to subscribe to the High Grade Help podcast, leave a review, share this with your friends, and follow us on social media. Thanks so much for listening, for tuning in, and I will see you for the next episode.